SLT Mobitel, the connection. SLT Mobitel, the connection.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, mountain or molehill? Deafening silence on Indian Chief Minister's BJP Sri Lanka and Nepal comments raises questions. In the nick of time, public vaccinations kick off today as health officials announced 21-day quarantine for UK virus patients. Special safety. State Minister assures safety for Grade 1 admissions as special school functions postponed until further notice. Explain yourselves. Sports Minister and cricketing administrators to appear in court over petition to amend the SLC constitution. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Monday, the 15th of February 2021.
ඇල්කොහොල් අඩංගු hand sanitizer භාවිත කරන්න. ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විෂ බීජවලට එරෙහිව සටන් කරන්න. හඳුන්වා දීමේ මිල රුපියල් 350යි.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammike Kanaka. Now then, India's ruling Bharatiya Janata party has been facing serious criticism over recent comments by a party chief minister of alleged plans to expand its reach into neighbouring Sri Lanka and Nepal. The comments have been called anti-national and anti-democratic by the party's rivals. However, doubts remain of the veracity of the claims by the chief minister, who is no stranger to controversy.
A virtual storm in a teacup has erupted over recent comments by the Chief Minister of India's northeastern state of Tripura, Biplab Kumar Deb. The Bharatiya Janata Party politician has told members at an event in his home state of then BJP President Amit Shah's alleged plans to expand the BJP's influence in Nepal and Sri Lanka. Deb claimed that Shah had, at a party meeting he attended a few years ago, outlined plans of having future BJP governments in Nepal and Sri Lanka. In a video widely publicized, Deb stated, quote, "We were talking at a meeting in the state guest house when Ajay Jamwal, BJP's zonal secretary for Northeast, said that the BJP had come to power in several states. In reply, Amit Shah said that Nepal and Sri Lanka are still left. We have to win there as well." End quote. Deb's comment, however, soon drew harsh criticism from the BJP's chief political rival, the Congress party, accusing it of interfering in the internal affairs of sovereign states. Congress Party Vice President for the Tripura state, Tapas Dey, called the attitude of the BJP anti-national and anti-democratic, adding that the party respects India's neighbouring countries and there is no justification to interfere in their internal affairs. Although the incident may have stirred a bit of a hornet's nest in Nepal and Sri Lanka, according to one Indian media outlet, the Chief Minister had apparently made the comments in jest. However, this did not stop the Tripura state's BJP spokesman Nabendu Bhattacharya from latching onto the comments to state that the Chief Minister has spoken the truth about the party's long-term ideological ambitions. Bhattacharya stated, quote, "We started work to extend our Indian philosophy and culture to different countries since long ago. We never consider poll contests as our primary aim. We are considering to win everywhere." End quote. However, casting doubts on the veracity of the comments, BJP leader MP Subramaniam Swamy tweeted a response questioning whether Deb was joking, sarcastic, or actually being serious. In any case, the Tripura Chief Minister is no stranger to Trump-esque gaffes, having made outrageous claims before. In 2018, while addressing a regional workshop on computerization of the public distribution system in his state, Deb claimed that the internet and satellites existed during the times of the Mahabharata. The Chief Minister then also displayed his economics expertise in attempting to solve the issue of unemployment among India's graduates. On another occasion, the controversial BJP politician had more advice for graduates. However, with no official confirmation or denial forthcoming from the Indian leadership or the BJP, it begs the question, was this a harmless gaffe by a sensationalist politician, or was the cat unwittingly let out of the bag?
Pay just 500,000 rupees to reserve your unit today. Mulberry Residence.
Sri Lanka's COVID inoculation program that began with administering the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine to frontline healthcare workers and Triforce's personnel opened up to the general public today. As such, State Minister of Primary Healthcare, Epidemics and COVID Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshini Fernandopoulos, says that the people within the Western Province, especially in the districts of Colombo and Gampaha, which record the highest daily cases, will be vaccinated first.
Under instructions provided by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19 announced today that arrangements have been made to vaccinate the general public against the virus. The NOC-POC stated that the vaccination process will commence from the Western Province for groups that interact closely with the public and those facing high risk of infection.
Right now we have been able to vaccinate approximately 190,000 people. We started ahead of time. Initially we vaccinated the healthcare workers, the Triforces and the police, and now we are in the process of vaccinating the healthcare workers in the private sector, and the priorities have been identified, and also a decision has been taken to give the second dose at an interval of 10 to 12 weeks. But initially we were planning to give the booster after 4 weeks, but with the current available scientific information, we have shifted the timing of the second dose to 10 to 12 weeks. So therefore we have approximately 275,000 doses in hand. We have started vaccinating the population since the Western Province, especially Colombo and Gampaha districts, have been identified as the high risk areas. So therefore the vaccinating the population has commenced today from Colombo district, where the workers attached to the Colombo Municipal Council engaged in waste management have been given the vaccine today, and with the available vaccines we will be prioritizing Western Province, especially Gampaha, Colombo, mainly the Grama Niladhari divisions which are reporting high numbers of cases. Globally, there's a huge competition to procure vaccine. Even though you have funds, vaccine availability is limited, but we have placed orders and we will receive batches, and with this we'll be able to expand vaccination, but of course have to focus the high risk areas in order to control the spread to other districts.
In the meantime, media spokesperson for the Department of Prisons, Chandana Ekanaika, said that the prison officers serving in all prisons in the country will be vaccinated against the COVID-19 virus from tomorrow. He said that the COVID-19 vaccine will be administered to about 5,100 prison officers. The prison officers in the Western Province will be given the vaccine at the Prison Training College tomorrow, after which the jab will be given to prison officers in other provinces. In another development, the Parliament's Sergeant-at-Arms Narendra Fernando informed all parliamentarians that they will be able to receive the COVID-19 vaccine from tomorrow. Fernando said that the MPs have been asked to visit the Army Hospital in Colombo from 8:30 am to 12 pm from the 16th to the 19th of February to be immunized against the virus. Meanwhile, according to latest figures released by the Epidemiology Unit, 189,349 persons have been vaccinated against COVID-19 so far. Yesterday alone, 2,695 frontline healthcare workers were vaccinated. On another note, the Attorney General has approved the purchase agreement between the State Pharmaceutical Cooperation and Serum Institute of India for COVID-19 vaccines. According to the AG's coordinating officer, State Counsel Nishara Jayaratna, the approval has been granted subject to amendments.
In the meantime, those testing positive for the UK variant of COVID-19 will be subjected to a mandatory quarantine of 21 days instead of the customary 14-day period. This was revealed by the Chief of the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19, Army Commander General Shavindra Silva today. He added that the investigations will be conducted into understanding what further measures must be taken with regard to those who have contracted the UK strain of the virus. In the meantime, State Minister of Primary Healthcare, Epidemic and COVID Disease Control once more urged the public not to panic over the detection of the UK COVID variant in Sri Lanka, and also assured that there is no necessity to place the entire country under the lockdown.
Sri Lanka's COVID-19 infections rose by 802 yesterday, after 796 cases were confirmed the day before. The Colombo district confirmed 238 cases, while the Gampaha district recorded 162. 68 infections meanwhile were confirmed from the Kaluthara district, while 45 infections were recorded from Ratnapura. The district of Puttalam recorded 39 cases, while 38 infections each were confirmed from Kurunegala and Nuwara. The districts of Kandy, Matale and Kilinochchi meanwhile confirmed 32, 25 and 20 infections respectively. In addition, 96 cases of the novel coronavirus were reported from 12 other districts, while the remaining case from yesterday involved a Sri Lankan expatriate. In the meantime, 774 COVID-19 infections have been reported from the country so far today.
මේ හමුණ අයවලුන්ගෙන් තිදෙනෙක් ඉතාමත් සුළු සංඛ්‍යාවක් කැරෙන ඉතුරු සියලු දෙනාම මේ වන විටත් යුද හමුදාවේ නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථානවල නිරෝධායන වෙන අයවලුන්ගෙන් තමයි මේ බහුතරය මේ හමුණ 16 දෙනාගෙන් 13 දෙනෙක් පමණ සිටින්නේ. ඊට අමතරවයි අවිස්සාවෙල්ලෙන් පුද්ගලයෙක් හැලොක් සිටි කන්ස්ට්‍රක්ෂන් සයිට් එකකින් එක්කෙනෙක් හැටියට තමයි මේ ඒ දෙදෙනා ඇතුළු අනිත් කට්ටිය මේ ආකාරයෙන් සොයාගනු ලබන්නේ. පිටින් හමුනේ දෙදෙනා හරි දෙදෙනා සම්බන්ධයෙන් ගත යුතු කවුද ඔවුන් හමු වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ ඔවුන් හා සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච අයරු මේ වනිටත් සොයාගෙන ඔවුන් නිරෝධායන කිරීමටත් අපි කටයුතු කරලා තිබෙනවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ ප්‍රභේද හමුණු දැනුකත් වහාම අපි අර දින 14කින් ඔවුන් නිවෙස් වලට යවන ක්‍රමවේදය වෙනුවට අපි දින 21ක් ඔවුන් රඳවා ගැනීමට තීරණය කළා. ඌටත් වෙනත් ආකාරයේ මේ පිළිබඳව තවදුරටත් සොයලා බලන්න කටයුතු කරලා තිබෙනවා.
Sri Jayawardenapura University has been constantly monitoring the new viral variant. Accordingly, the B117 variant had been identified in certain pockets in Colombo, Avisavella, Biyagama and Vaunia. And of these cases, majority of them have returned from abroad. So there's no risk that it will get into the community because they have been quarantined for 14 days. But there have been a few cases where the origin of this variant cannot be identified. The epidemiology unit is investigating. But even though we have identified the new variant, there's no need to panic. There's no idea to lock down the entire country. But of course, when there are clusters of cases, the control measures are taken. Like when you are positive, the patient is transferred to an intermediate care center. The primary contacts are quarantined. So just because we have detected a few cases with the new variant, there's no necessity to lock down the entire country. But the certain clusters, of course, the mobility would be restricted in order to control the clusters and avoid spreading into other areas. So there's nothing to panic. But because our surveillance system is in place, we have been able to detect this new variant.
In the meantime, former Speaker of Parliament WJM Lokubandara passed away at the age of 80 yesterday while receiving treatment for COVID-19 at the IDH. Late Lokubandara's death becomes the first high-profile COVID-19 fatality in Sri Lanka. He was first elected to Parliament from the United National Party in 1977. Lokubandara was the Speaker of the Parliament from 2004 to 2010. He held the post of non-cabinet minister of indigenous medicine and also held several cabinet portfolios such as education, culture and Buddha Sasana. As such, the body of the former speaker was cremated today according to the existing guidelines regarding the disposal of COVID-19 deceased. In the meantime, the country's COVID-19 death toll rose by 7 yesterday to 397. 6 of them were women. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's COVID recoveries improved by 715 today, taking the overall number to 69,411. As such, the island's active number of COVID-19 infections currently stand at 6,620.
As the country prepares for vaccinations amidst the threat of the UK variant of the COVID-19 virus, the admission of students to grade 1 for the new school year commenced today in areas outside the Western Province. With that, State Minister Dr. Sudarshini Fernando-Pillai offered reassurances to parents fearful of bringing their children to schools, stating that a special focus has been placed on health and safety protocols.
Parents were seen arriving at schools outside the Western Province and isolated areas as grade 1 admissions commenced today. Both parents and students were seen adhering to health and safety protocols put in place to prevent any risk of infection. Meanwhile, public health inspectors visited schools and delivered health and safety lectures to both students and teachers. As fears rise over the recent detection of the more transmissible UK strain of COVID-19 in the country, State Minister of Primary Healthcare, Epidemics and COVID Disease Control, Dr. Sudarshini Fernando-Pillai told parents not to fear, as all necessary precautions have been put in place to ensure a safe and secure environment for their kids.
සියලුම ආරක්ෂිත පියවරල් අරගෙන අවදානම අඩු දිස්ත්‍රික්කවල ඒ වගේම තමයි ප්‍රාදේශීය සම්බන්ධීකරණ කමිටු රැස්වීම් තියලා ඒ සභාපතිවරුන් ඒ වගේම කලාප අධ්‍යක්ෂතුමාලා විදුහල්පතිතුමාලා එකට එකතු වෙලා කතා බහ කරලා සම්පූර්ණ ආරක්ෂාව යොදවලා මේ පාසල් විවෘත කිරීමට කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවා.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Education says that all schools in the country have been advised to postpone all special school functions until further notice. Education Secretary Professor Kapila Pereira said that schools have been informed of this decision through their respective zonal education officers. He says that zonal education authorities, school principals and Piriven have been instructed accordingly. The ministry stated that this decision was taken following reports that certain schools are planning to organize various functions despite the risks and unsafe environment associated with the COVID pandemic situation. The Secretary to the Ministry of Education emphasized that this is a time where the health of children should be of paramount importance and therefore advises schools to act with great responsibility and attention. In the meantime, the ordinary level students sitting for the examination, which is due to commence on the 1st of March, will be given study leave from the 17th to the 25th of February. The Department of Examinations said that all tuition classes should be stopped from midnight on the 23rd until the O-level examination is concluded. Now, the Children's Tree Planting National Programme Kakulu Turu Udanaya was launched today under the auspices of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The aim of the programme is to add over 1.5 million saplings to the environment within 5 years.
President Gotabaya called at the AdaDerana Vimaladharma National School in Gampola, where he was given a warm reception by the students. Later, the head of state, together with the students, planted saplings as part of a tree planting program dubbed the Kakulu Turu Udanaya. Under the program, the government aims to add 1.7 million saplings, including jackfruit, breadfruit, coconut and mango to the environment by the hands of school children within the next 5 years. The symbolic distribution of saplings by the president among students in line with the program was also done today. The objective of the program is to ensure that the future generation inherit a secure ecosystem and to make school children environment-loving citizens in line with the sustainable environment policy introduced by the Vistas of Prosperity. In the meantime, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa registered the name of a student and made a note in the logbook at AdaDerana Vimaladharma School marking the enrollment of students to grade 1 from the year 2021.
In other local stories, the Attorney General has requested for another trial at bar for the trial related to the bond scam involving the third Treasury bond auction of March 31st in 2016. Coordinating Office of the Attorney General, State Counsel Nisha Rajaratna said that Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira made this request from the Chief Justice today. The new set of judges has been requested to try former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake, former Governor of the Central Bank Arjuna Mahendran, PTL owner Arjuna Aloysius and 7 others with regard to the relevant trial. Now, the Attorney General made a similar request on the 11th of February this year after the Criminal Investigation Department informed the court that investigations into the financial irregularities amounting to 51.98 billion rupees in the second Central Bank bond auction against 11 suspects named in the case have been concluded. The Purchasing Managers Index at the end of January has shown some positivity and promise in several sectors, with the services sector showing a value of 56.2 for the month. In addition, the accommodation and food and beverage sectors also improved owing to domestic tourism recovering gradually, while future business activity expectations too reflected optimism in economic recovery.
Starting the year on a positive note, the services sector PMI recorded a value of 56.2 in January 2021, indicating a further recovery which was affected by the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, new businesses increased in January 2021, particularly due to the improvements observed in the financial services, transportation and wholesale and retail trade subsectors. With that, business activities in the services sector also increased in January for the second consecutive month. In the meantime, business activities in the accommodation, food and beverage subsector improved further, with a gradual recovery in domestic tourism owing to promotional discounts offered during the period. In addition, expectations on future business activities have also increased in January due to increased optimism on the recovery of economic activities affected by the second wave of COVID-19, with people adapting to the new normal environment.
Now, taking a look at the Colombo bourse, Sri Lankan shares ended lower today, weighed down by losses in consumer staples and financial stocks. The benchmark all-share price index fell 0.97% to 7,907.27 after having closed 5.1% firmer on Friday, while the S&P SL 20 index of more liquid stocks fell 16.65 points to close at 3,163.59. Now, here's Dimantha Matthew with a brief report on today's market performance.
Today we saw a sort of a positive momentum at the early part of the day with the splits being announced in the tile sector counters. So strong buying interest emerged in all the companies and pushing up the index to above 100 gain. However, the upward sentiment was sort of short-lived and we saw selling pressure coming back into the market. So the blue chips also had some selling pressure. The banking sector, the capital goods sector also was down a bit with this overall selling pressure. However, we saw the steady decline continuing throughout the day, and with that the market erased all its gains and went into negative territory, and today ended with a 77-point gain, continuing on a steady downward path after the initial uptick.
In the meantime, the Sri Lankan rupee closed weaker, around 196 rupees and 50 cents to 197 rupees to the US dollar, compared to its last close of 194 to 194 rupees and 50 cents on Friday. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We will see you shortly. Stay with us. Minister of Sports Namal Rajpaksha and officials of the country's cricket governing body, the Sri Lanka Cricket, were issued notice today to appear before the Court of Appeal on the 15th of next month. It relates to a petition filed by several former cricketers and SLC presidents seeking an order to amend the present constitution of the SLC.
A petition had been filed before the Court of Appeal, seeking a writ ordering the Minister of Sports and other respondents to amend the present constitution to Sri Lanka Cricket prior to its next election and to draft a new constitution. It was filed by 12 persons including former cricketers Muttaya Muralidharan, Siddharth Vettimuni and Michael Tissera, as well as former SLC presidents Anna Punchiheva, Vijaya Mallasekara and Rienzi Vijayatilaka. The petitioners point out that there is much room for political and other infringements within the present constitution of Sri Lanka Cricket, owing to its legislative shortcomings. As such, they say the revision of the prevailing SLC constitution is essential before the next election of Sri Lanka's cricket governing body, while noting that the Minister of Sports is vested with the relevant power to do so under the Sports Act. The petition was taken up before a bench consisting of Appeals Court President Arjuna Obesekara and Justice Mayadune Correa. During the proceedings, the 19 respondents of the petition, including Minister of Sports Namal Rajapaksa, President of the Sri Lanka Cricket Shami Silva, its Vice President Jayanta Dharmadasa and Secretary Mohan Silva, were issued notice to appear before the court to submit explanations on the 15th of March.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.